YouTube, it's that time of the week. Once again, it's episode 2 of Hot in the Hobby, where we highlight the cards that have been driving markets forward in the past week. Thanks for joining us as always. I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood, with Joe Nasty. Of course, your favorite dynamic duo coming at you again. And we've got all the major sports for you this week, the NFL, the MLB, and the NBA. But let's jump right into the action and start this week's countdown off with hot card number 1, and it is Saquon Barkley, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. His 2018 Donruss rated rookie card in a PSA 10 is up 62% over the past week to $64.84 per card. This was a $40 card just 1 week ago. In 2024, he has ran the ball 223 times for 1,392 yards, 10 touchdowns, 27 catches for 257 yards and 2 touchdowns. Actually, those stats do not include what he did today, which...
Just over 100 yards.
Which was just a little over... Okay, so he's probably at like 1,500 plus yards now.
Yeah.
The Eagles are 10-2, having won 8 games in a row now, haven't lost for over 2 months, and they lead the NFC East over the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 2 straight without Dak Prescott. And I believe, and we were talking about this earlier, I believe Saquon Barkley is on pace to break Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record.
Yeah, so Barkley is now, actually, he's not at 1,500. He's at 1,499 yards.
Oh, okay.
And so he needed to be at he needed to be at a little over 120 yards per game. So tonight wasn't the most on-pace game he's had, but because of the 17th game they've now play, he's still on pace to break that, yes.
Yeah, so he's on pace to break it, but it's like...
Long answer, yeah. Short answer is yes.
But it's like when baseball made the bases bigger.
Right.
So it's like, it's a technicality if he breaks it, right?
In the 17th game, then yeah.
But look, outside of tearing that ACL in 2020, right? I think it was 2020. And he kind of had that down recovery year in 2021. Saquon has been remarkably reliable. The Eagles have looked way, way better since their disastrous end to last season and their horrible start to this season. I don't know if I'd say horrible, but it wasn't good. Their offensive line has been much, much improved. This offense is the 3rd best in yards per game in the entire NFL at almost 400 yards a game. And this defense is holding teams to the least yards per game of any team in the NFL at 274.6. When you are the third highest gaining team in the NFL and the lowest allowing team in the NFL,
it's a good recipe.
It's a good recipe for success.
Yeah.
The Eagles' home field advantage is as good as any can get. We've talked about it before a lot, but I actually like the Eagles at home if they can get home field in the playoffs. I still like them even over the Lions if they can get home field.
Yeah.
Would I buy this card? No. I wouldn't. I'm sorry. I can't buy. I just can't do it. I can't buy running backs. It's the same way I can't buy pitchers. Yeah. Like I can't buy pitchers because of Tommy John, and running backs. I feel like it's even worse.
Oh,
it's like even worse. Like I cannot buy running backs. So while I understand why this card's going up, and I think great, Saquon's having a great year. He deserves it. His cards deserve to be up.
Yeah.
I ain't buying it. What about you?
Yeah, I was pretty wrong about Saquon. And I think it was more the point of like, a running back no longer is the difference in a great year. The Eagles were a shell of themselves last year. I'm really disappointing. And they bring in Saquon Barkley, and it's been really fun to watch. I'm no Eagles fan for sure. And what they did to the Rams last week was not fun to watch. But they're doing it. Like, it reminds me of like when LaDainian Tomlinson was running around for the Chargers, right? Like,
yeah.
He's the main focal point. He's electric. He's excited. Like, it's not just a sledgehammer. I mean, that backwards jump, hurdle he did was ridiculous. So, yeah, he's made them a bona fide contender once again, and they're doing it in a physical running style. But when it comes to like cards and like, do you want to invest in this and do you want to like have this for the future and resell? It can't. The guy already has a pretty devastating injury on his ledger, and a running back is always one play away. Like, even if you're not running the ball or catching the ball, You could be blocking. You could be running a play action and getting leveled in the backfield. Yeah. So in that regards, that's a pretty easy and hardcore no for me. But he's made a difference in terms of hardcore.
Hardcore pass from both of us.
Yeah, but in terms of what he's done for them as a contender, yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Hardcore pass from both of us, but we 100% understand why some of you might be buying a Saquon Barkley card just because you think the guy is an amazing athlete, which he is. Yeah. Moving on to hot card number 2 for the week. It is surprising. This one surprised me. Mostly because we are well into the offseason now. But it is Gunnar Henderson, shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. His 2023 Topps base rookie flagship in a PSA 10 is up 41.7% over the past week. $42.50 per card. This was a $35 card a week ago. I sold 20 of these in the past year for $29 or $30 or something. These are $42 now. Again, it's just weird because the baseball season is over.
And he's been gone for a while.
Yeah, and they got eliminated in the wild card round. It's not that I don't agree that Gunnar Henderson is going to be a great player because in 2024 he hit 281 with 37 home runs, 92 RBIs, 21 stolen bases, a 364 OBP and 893 OPS, and get this, his WAR was 9.1. I'm not sure if, I don't know how many players have had 9+ WAR under the age of 23.
Oh man!
In the history of I have no idea.
I'll check StatMuse, but that seems like a deeper research.
Yeah, I have no idea. But Gunnar Henderson is an absolute stud, and his big MLB moments are still ahead of him, obviously. He's a true impact player in all statistical categories. On a team that wants to win, I think the Orioles want to win. Maybe they're just going to sit on young talent and not spend any money. But for me, this one kind of comes down to we'll see what the Orioles invest in this offseason in the coming weeks. But come January, I would be very in on Gunnar Henderson. They do need elite starting pitching. Mm-hmm. They need to add another elite bat because they are probably going to lose Corbin Burnes and Anthony Santander. Although I know they are favorites to re-sign Corbin Burnes.
You're right.
But if they don't, even if they did re-sign Corbin Burnes, they need another arm, right? They need 2 big arms in that rotation and a big bat. I would love them to re-sign both and say, you know what, Baltimore, we are 100% committing. We are re-signing both of these 2 guys for their market value. And guess what? We're going out and we're getting another big player to bolster this lineup because, let's be honest, Adley Rutschman is not a very good hitter. I mean, cool, it's sexy. He's a switch hitting catcher,
That is cool.
But it is cool.
It is cool.
It sure is. But look, Gunnar Henderson, I don't have a problem with people buying this card. I just think it's the wrong time to buy it. I have no idea how this is $42 right now. It certainly is going to be $30 in January. So I would be buying Gunnar in January.
Yeah,
Any
for
thoughts
sure.
on it?
It is weird timing. He hasn't made news. He didn't win MVP. He wasn't in the top 3 of MVP, I don't think. Maybe. It was Judge, Soto, and Witt. Yeah, he was 4th. No one cares about 4th in the MVP.
4th actually might have been Jose Ramirez.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't even 4th. Regardless, I don't know what it is. I'm split on Gunnar. Before we start, I think he's a very, 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 very good player, and 37 home runs is nothing to sneeze at, especially for a shortstop.
No.
But
he was 4th.
Henderson
was 4th.
All right, well, that's good. I'm happy for him. But he's very clearly behind Bobby Witt Jr. now in the young shortstop pecking order, especially in the American League. The MVP votes said that.
Yes, but should the Orioles spend, he has a clearer path deep into October, which is where cards really increase in value.
Which is why I think I have such a sour taste in my mouth. and you're right, he does have a better path. He had such a bad playoffs. And I know it's small sample size.
It was 2 games.
But did he even get a hit?
I don't know.
I don't think he did. But it's not only that. The Orioles got 1 run that entire series, and he was the guy striking out swinging to end the entire series. And that lasting image, and the Orioles with this high-powered offense flailing away with their superstar at the plate, left a bad taste in my mouth. And they need to go out in the offseason and get some help. You're right. Get Gunnar Henderson in January. Not now. But something feels off about him to me. He had a good September, which surprised me. He did not have a good August. And maybe that's what it was. I somehow have a bad August and then a bad playoffs.
Yeah, but younger guys like this always takes them a little bit to get used to the length
I
of
know.
a full season.
I'm contradicting everything I've ever said. It's just something feels off, and this is purely from a gut.
Yeah.
Like, the obvious move is go all in. Push, because he's young and already producing. But something feels weird to me. Yeah. And maybe it's the Orioles curse.
I really don't think it... Again, I think it comes down to who the Orioles surround him with.
Yeah, at the moment, it's
realistically.
not much.
But that being said, it's also nice to be in the AL.
At the moment.
Because honestly, the AL, in terms of the money being spent, is kind of a joke compared to the NL. And I know the Dodgers inflate everything for the NL, but NL teams are just flat out better right now. And so I still think Gunnar has easier runway to get deep into the playoffs where cards will increase in value. But we got to move to hot card number 3 for the week, and that is Paul Skenes, starting pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His 2023 Bowman Draft Chrome first prospect card in a PSA 10 is up 30% over the past week to $145 per card. This was a $110 card a week ago. Again, we're into the offseason, so you'd think this is weird. What did the NL Rookie of the Year do this year? He went 11-3 through 133 innings with a 1.96 ERA and just a .95 WHIP. Struck out 170 batters in those 133 innings. Look, the reason this card is spiking is because people are going crazy over the Paul Skenes debut patch out of Topps Chrome Update, which has yet to be pulled yet. And they are trying to get, there's so many offers and bounties out on this card. I think it'll probably do $250,000 or something. But my stance on Skenes has and always will be the same. He's a generational pitching talent, but the only thing that matters are his elbow ligaments generational talents also. Because in a vacuum, yes, I'm buying Paul Skenes, but this is real life. And the odds are not in his favor to not have to get a major elbow surgery. And so for that reason, just like every other reason when it comes to pitchers, I do not buy pitchers cards, period. Paul Skenes is no different.
Yeah, it all comes down to your opinion, right? On the pitchers, this or that, because he's going to have a great career if he stays healthy.
Yeah, there's no doubt. If he stays healthy, he's probably going to be one of the best pitchers ever.
I mean, he'll put up numbers. He's already debuted at such a young age, and he pitched so well in a third-place finish as a rookie in Cy Young, and the Rookie of the Year on top of that is pretty good. And you get a chance to sit next to Livy, and who knows what? Maybe hold her hand? Probably not. Yeah, Skenes is amazing on the mound. It just comes down to how you feel about pitchers. No, I probably lean the same way as you do, but also he's so good.
Yeah.
And remember, he did save a few years on that arm by not being a pitcher to start off his collegiate career. So
that's true. Either way, his card is hot right now. It'll probably not be as hot once his debut patch is pulled.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Moving on to hot card number 4, it is LaMelo Ball. Point guard for the Charlotte Hornets, not the Bobcats. His 2020 Prism base rookie card in the PSA 10 is up 20% to $51 per card over the past week. This was a $40 card just a week ago. He just got hurt, though, and will be out for, I think it's like 3 weeks or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not 203.
Not 203. Someone wrote that wrong on the, whatever that thing is.
He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, reevaluated in 2 weeks. That can be dangerous.
That can be very dangerous.
But I will say, crazy stat lines in 2024. He's averaging 31.1 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 6.9 assists on 43% shooting from the field. So that leaves a little to be desired. 35.6% from downtown. That is pretty darn good. Look, LaMelo, I think we talked about LaMelo 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, something like that.
Did we?
I think so. But LaMelo is one of the most electric talents in the league. That's obvious. He fills up the stat line, but my concern is kind of the same as it was before, which is I just don't think he makes his teammates better. Like, I don't think LaMelo makes his teammates better enough. And it shows because the Hornets are 6-14 and are an awful basketball team for the most part. I don't know that he really has the leader mentality. He seems pretty self-absorbed in his own little thing, in his
LaMelo
outfits,
world,
and he's kind of a diva in all his cars and this.
Kind of.
You know, like he's also made just of absolute glass.
Yep.
Like this dude gets hurt like crazy. Like all the ball kids are made of glass, except for LiAngelo, who was actually never good enough for us to find out if he was made of glass.
China's most wanted.
Yeah, but I'm assuming he is if he was wearing those piece of shit shoes that LeVar Ball was advertising.
Yeah.
Excuse my French there.
Excuse your hate for LeVar Ball shoes.
Yeah, I spent enough years with him yelling right behind me
That's right.
at Pauley Pavilion to be able to dislike LeVar Ball. Also, the Hornets, like, they just don't shoot the ball well as a team. They are highly inefficient. Brandon Miller, who is probably the next best rookie outside of Wemby last year.
From last class, yeah.
He's shooting 40% from the field. Josh Green is shooting 44% from the field. Miles Bridges is shooting 42% from the field. LaMelo is shooting 43% from the field. If LaMelo had an elite three-point shooter to pass the ball to, this might be a little different. And like Trey Mann is probably their best outside shooter now. I don't know. Well, probably LaMelo, but LaMelo can't pass it to himself, right? And you don't exactly.
He would if he could, though.
Yeah, he would if he could. But you don't fear Trey Mann. You don't fear any of these guys on the perimeter.
No.
And so I get it. LaMelo's going to fill up the stat line. It's sexy. He's super athletic. He's going to put up crazy numbers. But this dude ain't going to win. Not in Charlotte, he's not. I can tell you that.
No.
What are your thoughts on LaMelo Ball?
I'm honestly not a fan. And, like, again, old man on yelling at clouds probably, but, like, you said it. He's a YouTube player. He's unbelievable. Like, you can't take your eyes off of him. He's 6'7" and handles the ball like Kyrie Irving. It's truly remarkable. But you could also maybe even argue that, like, those guys aren't great three-point shooters because of their point guard. Like, they could be getting the ball in bad situations. Teams may not be sagging off of those shooters. Like, maybe he could be driving in to the rack a bit more. He matches his outfits with his cars. And he's got wild cars and he's got wild outfits. And it's kind of hard to believe, but, like, I just saw this. Can you believe he's still only 23?
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, we've known about him for so long, essentially, and we saw him at Chino Hills as a freshman, actually as an 8th grader, and he's still only 23. But to only be 23 and have multiple concerning injury issues, probably not great. Anyways, I just want to talk about LiAngelo really quick because I saw a hilarious clip of him and Lonzo on a podcast, which is the only place they can get their faces out there. And LiAngelo was like, yeah, if I was the right situation. No, Lonzo was like, dude, just go to Europe already. It was like the most honest I've ever seen, like, anyone ever be on these kind of shows. Lonzo was like, dude, go to Europe. Just go play overseas. And Lonzo was like, I'm waiting for that G League call. If it's the right situation, I might go. And Lonzo was like, you were in the summer league and you didn't do anything.
Yeah, you had your shot, dude.
It was actually really sad to see LiAngelo, like, really, like, believing in himself. Well, okay. You should always believe in yourself, but, like, not having, like, good perspective on the situation.
Yeah, but don't be, like, delirious.
Don't be delirious. He was talking himself out of, like, not going to.
Yeah.
I think to him it'd be embarrassing when in reality, it's fine.
Yeah.
Look, it was a really interesting clip.
If his last name is Ball and he has any relation to LeVar, I'm out.
Yeah, that's
Bottom
right.
line, I'm out. And we've run out of time
Oh, man.
for this week's episode of Hot in the hobby. Hope you enjoyed this week's show. If you did, you know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe down below if you haven't already.
What's your deal? Sorry, what were you going to say?
If you do, though, you will be greatly rewarded with enthralling content for many, many moons into the future. So until next time, from the Hollywood Rip Studio, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Duh, boys. Out.